With 8 Pro Tour teams and the majority of the biggest stars in cycling competing at this Tour of California, teams based in North America were forced to be practical about their goals. Only a handful of men had realistic chances of competing for the overall classification, and not one spends his season racing domestically. And with the world's fastest finishers all in California, the chances of a Continental rider taking a field sprint were equally unlikely. Instead, North American teams had to focus on stage wins, podium jerseys, and the television exposure that comes from a long breakaway.
We've just been trying to get in the breaks, looking to get our name out there for the sponsors, but also try and win a stage.
You just have to take it where you can get it. I mean, if that's a breakaway, you go for it. I mean, maybe it'll go to the line.
Of the American non-Pro Tour teams, both BMC and Rock Racing landed riders in breakaways on several occasions. The composition of the 6-man breakaway on Stage 5 consisted almost entirely of domestic teams, including Ouch Maxis, Jelly Belly, BMC, and Rock Racing. On Stage 7 into Pasadena, a day seemingly everyone knew a breakaway would go up the road, the Continental squads mostly missed the move. BMC and Rock Racing were the only domestic squads represented.
Though we're not at the caliber, maybe of the depth of the teams, in the Pro Tour, I think we're close, and we haven't been riding to that level, and I think we can.
Rock's Francisco Mancebo took the only domestic team victory of the race with a stage win, a day in the leader's jersey, and a near lock on the King of the Mountains jersey until he crashed out of the race on Stage 7.
The rider's a rider. I guess the pro team, big guys have a lot stronger team than domestic squads, but our squad is pretty strong. We've shown a lot this tour, so we're trying to stick it to the man.
Other standout domestic performances include Bissell's Tom Zerbel and Ben-Jacques Main, who placed 7th and 11th in the Stage 6 time trial.
Yeah, the domestic teams, I think Tom Zerbel, he looks pretty good in the time trial. They're going in the breaks as much as they can. It's just the level here is so high, it's hard to get a result. It's a challenge.
That challenge proved too much for most of the domestic teams in California. And the highly anticipated return of Floyd Landis, riding with a revitalized version of last year's HealthNet Maxxis team, fell flat in the prologue, ending before it began. But to characterize the struggle facing these Continental squads as a David versus Goliath scenario might be an understatement.
It's really intimidating to be racing against guys that are the guys you've been reading about since you were a kid.
Not only do European Pro Tour teams sign the sport's top riders, but their multi-million-dollar budgets also allow for amenities such as plush team buses and a larger staff.
We get to live out of our van and change in the rain in the van, and they're lounging in RVs. They're doing the 4-hour transfer in traffic with their feet up and a bathroom available. I'm leaning the seat extra back and trying to stretch out a little bit. A big difference.
For their part, most Pro Tour riders say the American teams have nothing to be ashamed of.
The American teams are really good structured, and I think for them it's special because for them this is the most important race of the season, and you have all these big stars coming over. But I don't think they'll let themselves be intimidated by it. They just do what they're good at, and I've been surprised by a few guys.
I always love it to have like a little bit more open competition, because I know where I came from, I was 1 year in a smaller team, and I always loved to race against the big guys, and try to take that chance, to make myself noticed, and that's what these boys are doing,
And on the rare occasion when domestic teams have tasted success in California, it's doubled as both a season highlight and a launching pad. Toyota United's J.J. Hayato won 2 stages at the inaugural Tour of California in 2006, and soon after signed with CSC, the team that is now Saxo Bank.
I also know it's a very difficult race coming from a domestic race against Pro Tour races because it's a little of a lack of respect because you don't have that kind of a jersey, it's not a Pro Tour team, so they don't have that much room for you, especially in the sprint. But at the same time, for them it's nice to have a shot when you have the guys like Bonin, Cavendish, Hushov, or any other sprinter.
Hayato.
Yeah, I don't say my name, they have to say it, so I think it's kind of cool for them to have that kind of level here.